welcome back to the shop. For those of you who are new to the shop, I'm Susan and I'm glad you can join me today. Today I'm going to be going over some of the new features in Xtool Creative Space version 2.4. So hopefully for those of you who are on the fence of whether you want to upgrade or not, this should help you to make that decision. So if you're interested in learning more about this, then stick around and let's get started.
So the first new feature that I want to talk about today that's in Xtools version 2.4 is their new measurement tool. In the past, it's been difficult to measure just between objects or an object like this. This object has an opening at the top that has a depth and a width that when you click on it, you can't tell. All you see is the width of 4.366 by 3.256. You don't see the opening, what the depth of it, the width of it is. Well, the new measurement tool allows you to figure that out. If you come over in your left toolbar under Applications, click on Measurement, click to measure distance. If you come over here, you'll see your mouse is now across hairs. If you click on the top point that you want to measure, because I want to measure the depth of this, so I'm going to come right off the corner, and you can see that the crosshairs is lined perfectly with the top line as well as the vertical line that's going down. So if you click your left mouse button, then release it, it'll form a line, and then just come down to where you want to measure to, line up your crosshairs with the two lines, and click your left mouse button again. If you'll go over here in the open window, it will show you the length is 1.17 inches. Now for me, I have Xtool Creative Space set to inches. If you have it set to millimeters, it will show you millimeters. So if you want to get rid of the line that you just created, all you have to do is hit your escape key. And then I'd like to move. So now I'd like to measure the width of the opening. Come up here to click Measure Distance. Put my crosshairs right at the bottom corner, click with my left mouse button, move across, line it up, oops, click the left mouse button again, and it'll show me that the length of that line is 1.57 inches. So now I know the depth of the opening as well as the width of the opening. Makes it pretty simple. Again, we're going to hit Escape. And now I want to see the distance between two different objects that are just sitting on my screen. So if I click to measure distance, I click a point on this line, come over, make sure it's a straight line, because you'll see right now it's 1.42 inches. But if I drag it up and it angles it, now if that's what you want to measure is the angle, that's good. But if you want just the distance between, make sure that line is straight, and then click on that line and it will show you the distance between the two objects. Again, when you're done, just hit Escape. If you want to close your window, hit the X key. The next feature that we're going to talk about is guidelines. Now, guidelines are something that you can use. It basically allows you to more accurately align and position your shapes, text, images on your screen. It gives you, a reference point that you can set things up when you're making complex designs. So how you do that is you'll notice at the top of the screen and the side you have a ruler. If you go to the top and you see a double arrow with a line, click your left mouse button and you'll see a blue line form, and just drag it down and snap it to the top or wherever you want your guideline to be. I want things to align with the top of this right object. So I put a guideline there. Now I want my objects also to align out here on the side. So if I come to my left ruler, you get a line with a double arrow, click your left mouse button and drag, and then release your mouse button once you get it to where you want your guideline to be. And it will show you exactly on your canvas the dimension or where you're located. This line is at 7.895. I know that's hard to read just because of the light blue coloration. Now I also want a bottom line because I want this to align with the bottom of the shape. So I'll come back up here to the top again, drag down another guideline, release my mouse button once it snaps to the bottom of that object. Now this gives me 2 points of reference to where I can put my other objects. I'm going to take this rectangle. I want it to align with this corner. You'll notice the upper line and the left line have now turned pink. That's showing me that it's perfectly aligned in that corner. I'm going to take my other object and I'm going to align it here. And you'll see the left and bottom line on this object have changed to pink. And you can see that my 2 objects are now perfectly aligned, top and bottom, with this object, and on the left side, the distance that I wanted off of the object. Makes it pretty simple when you're working with new designs. Now, if you want to get rid of your guidelines, click the guideline with the left mouse button and hit your delete key, and it will remove your guidelines. Click each one and it will remove your guidelines from the screen. And as you can see, these are perfectly placed, lined up with each other. Pretty neat feature. Okay, so next feature we're going to talk about is the text uppercase function. Have you ever been, I'm going to click on the text here. Come out here, it says hello. I'm going to type Merry Christmas. Have you ever typed something and then you looked at it and go, oh, I forgot to hold down my shift key or the caps lock and get everything on the wording to be capitalized? Well, it's going to be really easy to change this now. Make sure that it's highlighted. Come to the top, hit your down arrow for more. If you see over here on the right, you'll see this lowercase and uppercase A. If you click on that button, it will change everything to uppercase. If you click on the minus sign in the box beside it, it says original case, and you hover over it, click on that, and it will put it back, revert back to how you typed it originally. Well, I want it to be all uppercase, so let's click back on the button here. And it's that simple. It's just something to make things a little bit easier when you're working with your text features, because I don't know how many times I have typed an upper and lower case when I wanted everything uppercase. And this just makes it easier to change everything. Now, another issue I've had in the past is, have you ever typed 2 words together like I just did and wanted them separate? Well, let me show you how to split this apart and also split the letters apart. If you click on your right mouse button, it'll pop up a window. And if you come down here close to the bottom, it says split text. Click your left mouse button, and you'll notice now that every letter of what you just typed is an individual letter to be manipulated however you want to manipulate it. Let's say we want to split these 2 words apart. I highlight the Merry, click my group, and now this is a separate word from Christmas. Let's say we want to stagger the design. Let's lower this. Let's lower this one, lower this one, and lower this one. Now I have a staggered Christmas, but they're all separate, so it's easy to put them all back together just by highlighting them. You can hit the group key up at the top in the menu, or you can hit your right mouse button if you like working with a mouse better, and just hit click group. And there. You have now got 2 words that are easy to move around and do what you want to with it. You can also take and highlight both of these. Now it says ungroup because both of these are grouped. But if you hit your right mouse button, you'll notice you have that feature to group or ungroup. I want to group both of them together. Now I have Merry Christmas all in one grouping. Pretty neat, huh? Okay, let's see. What do we want to talk about next? Next, we want to talk about the grid lines on your canvas. You'll notice all these grid lines on here, and grid lines are nice when you're trying to line things up because it helps you to move things, and sometimes you can, use them to line things up, or but you can't tell distance or anything like that. Well, sometimes when I'm working, I don't want these grid lines. I really would like them just to disappear. Well, that's not something you've been able to do in the past, but now all you have to do is hit your right mouse button, and you can do show grid, hide grid, and it gets rid of it. And you hit that again, and it brings it back. You can access the feature there, or you can come up to the main XCS menu, hit your down arrow, hit view, and it does the same thing. Show and hide your grid lines. Now something else you can do with your grid lines is, say you don't like the darkness of the coloration or you want them to be darker. You can actually change the shading of it. Come down to view and you'll notice you can make them darker. Right now the default is medium, or you can make them lighter. See? So they're not so obnoxious, I think, sometimes. Sometimes they're really great, but sometimes they just drive me crazy. Or you can make them darker because you think they're to make them easier for you to see. Whatever you want to do. Let's put them back to their default medium. So the next new feature is they've enhanced their offset feature. So let's click on this rectangle. So if you click on offset here in the top menu, they allow you to set the direction to external or an inner line, or you can do both. They allow you to change the corner style. You can do a 90-degree corner, you can do a rounded, or you can do a beveled edge. I've got mine set to rounded. You can do outer shapes only. You can do what you want. Then you need to hit confirm, and it will create your shape for you. Take your shape out of there. And now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Now you can see it's formed a nice inner and outer frame for your object. This is nice when you're creating frames. You want to make a frame for an object to set in? This would be nice to create that for you. As well as this would be nice to make edging for ornaments and stuff when you're trying to make an outer edge for an ornament. Lots of different things you can do with it. So let's delete that off of there. Now this is a feature that I really like. In the past, whenever you created objects, let's create a circle. I'm going to create a circle down here. Whenever you've wanted to center two items, you would take and select one item and select the other item, which is going to be the same with this new feature. You come up here to the top and you would hit this down arrow and you would have to horizontally align center and then vertically align center. So it's a two-step process. They've now simplified that to where all you need to do is hit align center, one click, and it's taken my rectangle and now placed it in the middle of my circle, perfectly centered. Just another step within XCS version 2.4 to make things a little bit easier for you to do. Now the last feature I want to talk about today, or update to Xtools Creative Space, is the placement function. Before, when you would come over here on the left hand side, let's click on shapes. You can see there's different shapes that you can select. Whenever you would click on a shape, it would show up most of the time up here in the left-hand corner, and sometimes even underneath your window. Now they have made it a little bit simpler. When you click on a shape, it will land somewhere in the center of your canvas rather than up in the top left corner. So let's click on another one. Click on the monkey. You can see it also lands in the middle of your canvas, which makes things a little bit easier for you to see and manipulate. Another thing that I have had questions about, when you're working with your windows that open off your left toolbar, you'll see that there's a small tab on the right hand side of it that has an arrow. This is what allows you to close that window. So no matter what window you open up, you click that and it easily closes. So I hope that's helped you. I hope you've enjoyed the video and you've learned more about some of the new features in Xtools Creative Space software version 2.4. I really appreciate you joining me today, and remember, you're always welcome back here at the shop anytime. So take care and have a great day.